Microphone test 1 2 1 2. Alright, audio seems good. Now, this one, I'm pretty excited about this one. Also because I'm kind of bored. Now, when sometimes people get bored, they can either be constructive or destructive. In this case, I've chosen to be constructive, or I think anyway. Now, I guess the background to this is we as holders of cryptocurrency, investors of cryptocurrency, the future of the cryptocurrency space should take into account that we are ruled by the rule of law. And that rule of law can be influenced by us, we the people, worldwide, regardless of where you are. Now, this stream primarily focuses on Australian cryptocurrency because I feel that unless we make our voices heard, no one's going to listen. No one's going to care. We're going to be ruled over like sheep. Now, the next thing. Previously, I submitted to the Board of Taxation a review of the tax treatment of digital assets and transactions in Australia. I thought it relevant to submit, details and facts to this review because had I not have done that, no one would hear anything. And how do we know people who are maybe against crypto, maybe Munger, might be out there paying lobbyists to write reports against the crypto space? Now, I have no evidence of that, but what I'm saying is if we don't do it, no one else will. So that is some context. So I've already done that. Now, the upcoming one is the token mapping exercise. Now, this is, it's been around for a while. I think it was introduced by the Labor government as a way to look at the entire cryptocurrency space. Now, I wish I had further details and facts because, again, since this has taken place, this proposal, I'm pretty sure things like Celsius, FTX, a lot of other, businesses, entities, a lot of other entities have collapsed because they were dealing with centralized exchanges, from my understanding. You see the bankrupts and the liquidity issues and basically fraud in many cases. Now, again, decentralized exchanges do not have this problem, generally speaking, because you can see the on-chain reserves. Now, can there be instances of scams whereby there's no liquidity? And I guess going back to 2017, the ICO craze and all that sort of fraud, where they would literally make a website, you'd send cryptocurrency to them, and you'd never hear from them again. So I'm trying to figure out basically this token mapping exercise. Is this them, the government, having a lack of understanding in relation to the things previously I mentioned, centralized exchanges, reading on-chain data? Is it them not understanding how this all works and trying to piece together a way to understand cryptocurrency? Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with understanding cryptocurrency, but I thought they would know how to do this by now. Mind you, it's an ever-evolving space, and I guess you could say you are, as an investor in cryptocurrency, depending on what you're investing in and what you're holding, at the forefront of innovation, As for things like centralized exchanges that have gone bankrupt because of their fraud and inability to keep basic accounting records, not so much, not so much innovation there. That sounds more like fraud. So before I go on too much further, I'm probably going to make some sort of series out of this, whereby I will put together live on stream, basically the proposal I'm going to put forward to this entity. It goes on to explain here, again, relative to Australians. Here's the submission guidelines. It has, this is kind of also relevant as well, because I guess this is the exercise that's called token mapping, taking place in Australia, I guess maybe Canada, Netherlands, surprisingly, UK and US is either to follow, or maybe they're going to take their own route. Now, moving on. So this all brought about, was brought to my attention because of this article. Where is it? in a very, very slight manner. South Coast Register, no, not this one. Sydney Morning Herald, no, not this one. It was the Canberra Times. So the Canberra Times yesterday, in the middle of the night, published this. I was like, that's strange. Oh, sorry, midday. I published this one, and I didn't think too much of it. I thought it was already known, generally. But then I watched the stream today by fellow Hexagon ID. Shout out to him. Covering this article here: Australian government releases first steps to regulate crypto and Bitcoin. So I'm like, that sounds familiar. Now, in this particular article, it does mention ASIC, and they plan to sort of teach more people. And basically, people are getting scammed, which is bad. And I guess as a result of all the exchanges who are regulated, like FTX, for example, Celsius, failing, maybe they're going to try and educate people on how to read on-chain data and how to read the code of what the crypto is actually doing, what they're investing in, versus giving them money, KYCing, mind you, AMLing, anti-money laundering, filling out all the required identities, all the forms, everything that adhere to those standards, and still getting scammed. Meanwhile, decentralized exchanges, you have everything on chain. Everything's easily accessible. You're able to tell where your money's going in and out. And then come time to look back on what happened, what took place, you can then see it on chain. Then if you need to pay, or when you need to pay your taxes, you're able to see it all on chain. And I'm guessing you're probably selling it to a centralized exchange when you, I guess, use the toilet. And at that point, most exchanges, I imagine, are, as I said before, regulated. But is it wise to keep all of your net wealth on an exchange like FTX or Celsius that ended up going bankrupt? No, it was not. It is not. You can't anymore, mind you. But I'm hoping that's what this sort of exercise is about. But I have a feeling that government, as government tends to do, will overreach and try and explain what you can and can't do. And basically treat us all like children because it's the nanny state and we can't make any decisions on our own. They're probably going to stifle innovation if they do this. This is my fear. Because as I said before, we are at the forefront of this technology, blockchain. Yeah, enough said. And that's why we have these tokens. We're able to sell them, we're able to buy them, we're able to keep track of them because we can read on-chain data. Now, as I said before, this article then expanded on this, the first article. So this secondary article here explains they call multi-stage approach to tackling cryptocurrency regulation. So maybe firstly, they're trying to understand what cryptocurrency is, and then it goes on to say they're going to strengthen enforcement, bolster consumer protection, and establish a framework for reform. Basically, what I'm hoping of this, through my input, I can sort of, as we all can, sway and teach others about cryptocurrency and how it works, to my level of understanding, which is not as high as others in the community. But by doing so, we can at least have our voice heard. So when they say strengthening enforcement, if assholes like exchanges, middlemen who you shouldn't be engaging with except for maybe entering in and exiting out of the system as a necessary evil, if they run off with your money, maybe you should be able to capture them, get your money back to the poor people that got scammed. Maybe that adds on to the bolstering consumer protection, and then that maybe helps establish a framework to not allow it to happen. I'm not sure what exactly they're going for. Now, there's a lot more to that because this is very simple, in very simple terms. Not legal advice, not tax advice, not any advice of any sort. It's merely pointing you in a direction, saying this is where the wind's blowing, maybe we should check this out. We have here even these enforcement measures describe including taking legal action when cryptocurrencies are marked marketed without appropriate financial licenses. In addition, the report describes that particular attention will be paid to making sure risks are properly disclosed to consumers. Again, I feel this is government trying to intervene when, as adults of sound mind, we should be able to make judgment. But some people lose all their money because they get scammed, then blame everyone else except them for the decisions that they made. Are you serious? I'm still waiting for money back from 2017 that I got scammed from, and I'm probably not going to get that because I didn't read the process in which to file to get my property back. Now, do I blame the government, the US government, mind you, because of that? No, I do not. I'm kind of jaded by them a bit, but, you know, lesson learned. Read, understand the process. It's very frustrating to see. Moving on. We have here, building on that, Australia releases token mapping crypto classification system to guide regulation. So again, this is, I'm hoping that they're not going to rush this. I hope they understand what is actually taking place. I'm hoping they understand the difference between centralized and decentralized. And here's an actually very long article from Kitco. Now, I'm pretty sure they're the same news entity that did have Richard Hart on and was talking about Hex. Now, we can go over this briefly. Paper divides digital assets into three main categories, crypto networks, crypto tokens, and smart contracts. Well, that's good because at least they're going to explain, what a crypto network is. I don't like that name though, network. Maybe L1, anyway. Crypto tokens, that's good to understand. And then smart contracts, it's good to, understand if you're engaging in a smart contract and receiving tokens and what the tokens are doing on chain. But we shall see how this all plays out. Now, haven't read all this. I'm not going to read all this on stream because that's a lot. We do have this here. Again, I was trying to find all this out quickly just to see what's going on. So Google searched the article and was able to pull up because it was from Australian Press, and that was from the original source here, Australian Associated Press. I went and searched them, was able to pull this, then found a plethora of basically the exact same information being distributed to various other mainstream media networks. We have this here from Australian Associated Press, same as Canberra Times. Government moves to tighten rules for crypto. This is their take on it. It actually looks almost identical to the Canberra Times version. And we have here, again, Sydney Morning Herald. Dogs barking. Sorry about that. Government moves to tighten rules for crypto. Again, this is, I guess, their opinion on it. Further, it says here, tighter regulations will be introduced in an attempt. I'm not sure, tighter regulations. FTX was already regulated. They're the same people, and they're going to try and do what now? Regulate who and how and why? For what reason? Anyway, following the collapse of FTX, which was heavily regulated, left thousands of Australian investors out of pocket, except for Hexicans. But, of course, it takes a Hexican to explain this to these people, which they're probably not going to listen. That's why I'm going to be submitting, and I'm hoping other Australian Hexicans do it so too, submitting a report, basically a small report, a letter almost, explaining my position in crypto, vaguely explaining my understanding, explaining how I think the token mapping should take place, whereby I will probably hone in on things like, I won't call it crypto networks. I will understand. I will go back and read what this is though. But basically explain to them the difference between, now I have a small notepad here. I like to think that the cryptocurrency is straightforward. If you can read the on-chain data, understanding the difference between a centralized exchange can't read the on-chain data because it's hidden behind their paywalls. And decentralized exchange can read the on-chain data. And you can see if it's a smart contract, where the tokens are, what network you're on. Then, is it a scam? It's probably a good question to ask. Is it a smart contract? How does it work? It's also a good question to ask, which they kind of covered. And can you read the on-chain data? And I think the tax reform does not need to be rushed if this is what they're looking to do. Because it says that, they're trying to token map first so they can better regulate, so they can better apply the law, tax laws, is what I'm assuming. So this one here, it says, concern people entrusting their digital assets to a trading platform mistakenly think they have the same protections as when buying shares online. So I don't disagree with this, because this is what we've been saying. So I'm hoping I'm not arguing the same point, when I actually agree with some of the stuff that they're saying. Again, not talking to you, chat, just sort of venting frustrations to the people who write articles, the people who rule over us, who think they understand things better than we do. And like I said, we are at the cutting edge of innovation regarding cryptocurrency as users, as I'd say retail users. Well, myself I can talk about. But yeah. It then goes on to say, would like protect crypto curious Australians to mitigate risk to the economy. I think that's already happening now. Personally, I think we need more. I said in my previous report to them, I said, I think you just need to teach more people, make an informed citizenry, teach them the difference between level 1, the token, the smart contract, what it's actually doing. Is there any liquidity? Where are you going to trade it? Where are you going to store it? How are you going to keep it? Operational security, things like that, I think need to be taught, because there's a lot of people that don't know shit, and it's frustrating. And it's sad. And the gatekeeping that took place on top of Hex, I can imagine, and the gatekeeping that's taking place currently on cryptocurrency, generally speaking, is pretty sad, because it can stop people from maybe achieving life-changing wealth. It can stop people from investing in various assets which may help them, But then again, if a person doesn't even understand what a cryptocurrency wallet is, it's going to be pretty hard to explain to them to go and buy it and store it safely. Like they hear of Ethereum, I'm going to buy some ETH, and then they have no idea what to do or where to store it, and then they get wrecked because they bought it through like a centralized exchange like FTX that crushed everyone. Anyway, so that's my tangent, sorry about that. Back on track. Yeah, cracking down on criminals, that's fine. Protecting financial system, that's fine, because I think they go hand in hand. Because if the criminals are like disappearing with all this energy from the financial system, then the financial system is going to be put under more strain. Now, under changes, the financial regulator will increase the size of its team to work to educate consumers about financial risk, which I don't disagree with that. There's actually a few jobs going around here in Australia. I think one of them was the federal police. One was accounting firms. I haven't looked at the ASIC website for a while, but they're signaling, they're telling us they're looking for more people to work in the cryptocurrency space. Now, I'm in two minds about that. I mean, the one thing that stopped me from applying was because I felt like if you apply or work in a role like that, you might not be able to actually hold cryptocurrency, which would kind of suck, because when you work in, you're supposed to, when you work in large, say an investment firm, then you need to disclose your investments to them. So I thought, that thing could be, it could be a vector that could be exposed, or it could be looked at later on, and if they find anything, it could be frowned upon, and then it's sort of like, you were doing some nefarious trades. It's like, hang on, I don't want to go there. So that's why I choose not to work in those fields. Although applying my knowledge, I could probably very well help them a lot. Because a lot of this stuff to me is easy-ish. I'm not at the level of other people, as I say, but reading on-chain data, it's not overly hard. And then you wouldn't be working by yourself. You get a whole team of people, you get a whole group of hexagons that understand everything, and you could come up with some pretty cool stuff, I think. But yeah, what's happening, teams up? But yeah, it goes on to increase anti-scam efforts, which I don't disagree with, by the Consumer Watchdog, the National Anti-Scam Centre. Again, could probably apply for jobs there and explain to people how these arseholes try and scam people. Socially engineering and the like, impersonation, etc, etc, etc. It's looking, okay, so this is what I'm hoping that people from Australia, if they choose to influence the future, basically. The Federal Treasury is looking to take comments from the public about the state of crypto management, regulatory gaps, and risks. I'll be like, operational security, regulatory gaps. I'm not aware of any because I don't play in the middleman FTX field. Everything's on chain. I can see everything. The risks are your own knowledge and lack of understanding. You know, what are they going to do? Oh, put a warning sign on the internet on your router before you turn it on. Warning, you could get scammed. Put a warning on your bloody mobile phone. Warning, you could get scammed before you hit the button. I don't think that's required. I think that's overreach. I think that's treating everyone like idiots, which I don't think we are. Some people might be, but anyway. This is the South Coast Register. Now, this particular outlet looks extremely familiar to the other article because it is this one and the same. It's Australian Associated Press. We have here, again, this is all feeding from that initial announcement. I think Kitco so far, I'm giving them the prize for the best coverage because it actually goes into the original paper which they pulled from. Australia introduces classification for crypto assets. Now, they haven't introduced it yet. They've been talking about it for a while. I think it was due to a Labour Party incentive, I guess you could call it, or legislation they're looking to work on. I'm not sure how it works. So again, maybe it's a task for ChatGPT, or maybe it's a task for some research because ChatGPT is not the answer for everything. Well, I still kind of like it. Now, yeah, public consultation. Again, if you missed it before, this is the public consultation they're referring to that I'm aware of. There might be others. I've already publicly consulted the review of tax treatment of digital assets, and I'll be building upon that to make a reply to provide feedback and input to the token mapping exercise that they're proposing. Again, I hope they don't rush it. I hope that hopefully they don't stifle innovation unnecessarily. Now, on its own taxonomy of crypto assets, regulators proposed to distinguish four major types of products related to the crypto industry. Okay. Here we go. So this one breaks it down okay as well. Crypto asset services, lending, borrowing. So they sound like exchanges. It's centralized exchanges, mind you. So they need to differentiate intermediate crypto assets. Let's have a look. Closest to widespread definition of tokens, rights or licenses in relation to event access subscription. What? Man, they make this stuff so complicated. It doesn't need to. It's like I saw this one post on LinkedIn, like, oh, here's a good idea for a token map, and they're like gone through every single cryptocurrency there is. And they've like made all these bullshit parameters, and I'm like, seriously, you just break it down. Blockchain, yes, no. If yes, what blockchain is it on? If on multiple lists. Like these guys come up with all these different like parameters. I'm like, you just wasted so much of your I replied to them and said, you just wasted so much of your time. Seriously, read the on-chain data. Is it a scam coin? Does it have its own, is it an L1? What does it do? What does the smart contract? That's it. Like then it's like, okay, how did you make like not tax advice? Did it make capital gain? Is it income? Oh my god, it's so hard. This is we need like teams and teams and teams and teams and paid people to, you know, be able to work on this. So I'm like, this is starting to feel like, you know, another way to just get money from everyone, you know. This isn't free. We're paying for this token mapping exercise, you know, through our taxes. And you guys sound like, I'm not talking to you, chat. I'm saying, like, you know, generally speaking, these people with the government likes to spend your money a lot, so much. Isn't that like part of the whole argument? It's like why Bitcoin was invented from memory? I don't know. Because then you can't be taxed on, you know, your income, because you are then using that tax to fund all the wars. So if you're holding Bitcoin, you know, and it goes up in value, then you pay tax in the end, yeah. But like you're not sort of on a day-to-day basis feeding the military-industrial complex because you're part of the meat grinder. Now, I probably worded that not quite right with the whole tax thing, but I think you get my point, people. Now, smart contracts exist from intermediate to public, using the former to providing a service, later used by parties to remove the need for What are they talking about, man? Seriously. See, they're making it so complex. Now, moving on. So far, I've liked Kitco, I've liked Cointelegraph. Excuse me. Token mapping consultation plans reveal crypto rule framework. Okay, so it's coming 2023. Now, what do we got? Again, token mapping. Again, damage control, FTX, clamping down. I mean, that's fine, but you know, just don't. Here we go. And then how the biggest question: how Australia would tackle the DeFi? What do you mean tackle the DeFi? It is on chain. Everything's on chain. How do you think you get your money in and out of it? Through the centralized exchanges, I'm pretty sure. Like, to me, that's. I don't feel like there's some huge risk there, because when that's done, then isn't that covering, you know? Like, if they want to shut down crypto, they could just turn off, well, in theory, they could just turn off all of the centralized exchanges, and you could never turn fiat into crypto, you know? So I don't understand these people, what they are trying to get at, because I'm concerned they're going to stifle innovation. I'm extremely concerned they're going to stifle innovation. Let's have a look. You know, this makes sense if there's, again, this is centralized exchanges. So these are the first one article I've heard actually mentioning DeFi, so that's interesting. Worth a read. This seems to be talking about centralized exchanges, you know, after token mapping, licensing, custody reforms, the logical next step for crypto reforms in Australia. After token mapping, okay, here we go. Because after token mapping, if it's rushed, if it's done wrong, can stuff up innovation in a bad way. They're going to require licensing for who? Who are they going to need? Who's going to license, you know? And then, so that's one red flag for me. Well, the token mapping exercise I want to put input into, and then the custody reforms. What do you mean custody reforms? So I'm assuming when they say licensing and custody reform, they are referring to centralized exchange, as I said before, the, I guess, in and out points from fiat into cryptocurrency. I'm pretty sure at the moment there's, at the moment we've seen a lot of collapse of these middleman exchanges, so maybe that's what they're referring to with custody reforms and licensing. That I don't disagree with, but it does make it hard for anyone trying to start an exchange. Moving on. A consultation paper would be to identify appropriate obligations and operational standards for crypto asset service providers. Okay, there you go. That's fine. As long as they're not trying to say retail investors can't invest in innovative smart contracts and crypto tokens because the government says so. Like, as long as that's not where they're going, then I'll be okay with that, you know, okay. Not happy, but okay. Because I pay my taxes, man, and it takes a lot of work to do it. And for you to imply that somehow I'm doing something wrong, I hope that's not what you're doing. Again, that's like saying legal gun owners aren't following the law. It's like they're the laws. We're following the goddamn. You're issuing laws, and then the criminals don't follow the law. So why are you issuing anyway? Another topic. Government will send feedback for crypto consultation paper. Again, this is what I am going to be putting together. I'll do it live on stream to show you what I put forward. Maybe I can get some feedback from anyone in the chat. I'll put it on Twitter as well. But again, I don't have a large reach, so I might be limited to only a few. But anyway, Australia bolsters. I have ChatGPT to help me though. Bolsters crypto watchdogs and multi-stage plan to fight scams. So that's fine. I don't care about that at all. That's fine. You know, if this is the case, then do it. Have at it. But just don't spend too much of my money doing this, because you should be able to read on-chain data, and you should understand that not your keys, not your coins. You should be able to maybe find someone who can read the actual code and what it is actually doing, and then if you can't, maybe have some questions there. Should I invest? Yes, no. Anyway, what are we doing? Australian government is bolstering market regulators' digital asset team as part of a multi-stage approach, clamping down on crypto, ensuring proper risk. Okay, so again, a lot of this sounds like they're clamping down on bullshit exchanges, doing bad things, which is fine. What have we got here? Oh, this will be good. I haven't heard this. Now, I'll play it through the audio. I haven't got my speakers in, so I'm not sure how loud this is going to be. But I will play. Apologies if there is any ads. Yeah, 100%, man. Like, if there's not, there should be, because that's logical, extremely logical. But yeah, again, this is all for Australia based though, so it might be different depending on roughly where you are. But you can see as one country takes the lead or another country takes the lead, then others will tend to follow. So it's just going to be interesting how this all plays out. Like, is it something to get all worked up and alarmed about, or is it just something that's sort of ticking some boxes because things are already okay and they're just making sure they're okay, and maybe how they can sort of cut out on more people getting scammed, basically. Which I think, personally, my answer is more teaching, more information, allowing people to understand that, you know, this is what happens when you turn your fiat into crypto. What you are getting into. And I'm pretty sure doesn't Coinbase have these like little lessons, like what is crypto, how does this work, how does it work? So yeah, you might be right. Maybe this exercise is not as bad as it seems. I'm pretty sure there are already regulations regarding protecting customer funds and what they can and cannot do with it. Yeah, that's right. And then if they're like FTX, they were like defrauding everyone. That's pretty sure that's why they're being charged. Anyway, we'll have a listen to this guy. I haven't heard this yet.
Protecting consumers.
Hang on. If I can't hear it, I got my old school wired. It reminds you of TF2. I don't know if you ever got the pods. I never claimed one. I wish I did. Free airdrops, you know. Oh, maybe I needed to pay tax on that. Ooh, no, I'm kidding.
Protecting consumers, protecting our financial system, and cracking down on criminals.
That doesn't seem too bad. Because that doesn't seem too bad at all. Again, so maybe I'm getting a bit worked up over nothing or heated under the collar for no reason. But like I said, I want to be I don't really care if the Labour Liberal, as long as I like their policies. That is all that matters. Now, that is about the end of the stream, people. Here we go. One of the main challenges, ASIC bring enforcement measures, sharing the risks. So I guess they're going to be like really honing in on centralized exchanges, I imagine, basically explaining, you know, if this site goes down, then we keep all your shit. That's what happened with Celsius, yeah, and FTX, yeah. Let's have a look. Oh, Cointelegraph reached out to ASIC, find out additional positions will be. You know, you can just look on the ASIC careers. Breaking news: if you want to find out if a company's hiring, look on their website and have a look to see what they're hiring for. Shit. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's what you can do. Let's have a look. What else? Yeah, so okay, scams bad, criminals bad, yeah. But more regulation, not the answer, seriously. Here we go, Australian Treasury. We're getting towards the end of the stream, but yeah. Go back, catch the replay. Basically, I just cover. I want to follow these guys. Maybe one day I'll work with them, but I said I probably wouldn't because then you might not be able to hold cryptocurrency, which is my passion. Let's have a look. Consultation. I will be inputting into the, we'll be putting input to where I can, for, the benefit of humanity is what I think. Let's have a look. Here we go. So this is this. crypto framework for the crypto sector. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Really not. But if, maybe they do this, everything comes up clean or relatively clean, all the bad players get flushed out, FTX, Celsius, and the like. And what's left? Maybe you've got some framework which is usable by large institutional investors, which allows for them to put big money into the sphere. Now, we've been saying this since 2017. It did actually happen, but then people got scammed. But then did the smart money lose their money? I'm not too sure. And if they did, maybe it wasn't material because I didn't hear about it. But what can happen if there's some framework in place, it doesn't affect, the retail investor, doesn't affect innovation, cracks down on criminals, teaches people about how cryptocurrency works, the differences, as they mentioned, between a smart contract, the token, and the actual blockchain itself. Maybe it's a positive, we'll just see what happens. All right, thank you for tuning in, signing out, and trying to think of something clever to say, like a signing out slogan. I got nothing. But I thought my title, I might keep this title, the Crypto-Politico Down Under, just for a little bit, just see how it goes. All right, signing out, peace.